मोअज़्ज़िज़ ख़ातिन व हज़रात, हमारे जो अगले स्पीकर हैं उनका ताल्लुक़ भी यूके से है और हमारी कम्युनिटी के लिए यकीनन बड़े एहसास की बात है। आप स्टॉक, फॉरेक्स और करेंसी के हवाले से, कमोडिटीज़ के हवाले से और गोल्ड और सिल्वर के हवाले से आपकी बड़ी ज़बरदस्त एज ए बिज़नेस के साथ, और लेकिन साथ ही साथ आप बहैसियत स्पीकर हमारे दरमियान तशरीफ़ फरमा है। तो मैं गुजारिश करूँगा मोहतरम जनाब सऊद सिराज आदमजी साहब से कि वो तशरीफ़ लाएँ और अपने ख़यालात का इज़हार फरमाएँ।
Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I'd like to thank everyone here for making this event so bright. Special thanks to Mr. Rahim Janu for giving me the opportunity to speak here. Mr. Arif Habib, thank you. It's a pleasure for me to speak here. I feel very honored. So before coming to this event, I had a brief chat with my wife, and she said to me, why don't you be very casual here today? So I'll be very brief and very casual. And I'll try and make this speech very interesting and very easy for you guys to understand. Briefly, my name is Saud Adamjee. I'm based in the UK. I'm a financial trader, so I trade in the stock markets and the currency markets and gold and silver. I run a hedge fund in the UK by the name of Swift Hedge, and I'm just here to share the knowledge that I've been gaining from my mentors, such as Larry Persevento, Tom Hogarth, and yeah, just a bit of my experience so far. I'll try to be very short, as I know the audience don't want to run away, and I want you guys to be interested here. So my topic here is more about financial markets and the importance of numbers in today's world, which sometimes we don't realize. We spend our entire life and adult and teenage life learning numbers and maths. We deal with numbers every single day. When we wake up in the morning, we see the time, it's 10 o'clock, it's a number. We go to the shop, we buy something, we get a change, we pay 100 rupees, we get 50 rupees, we've dealt with a number. So number is something that we do on a day-to-day basis, but there's some numbers which are very significant, which are very important, which I will try and emphasize on. Let's start with our deen. The very simple thing in our deen is in the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned the number 7 almost 7 times. He's mentioned the 7 heavens. May Allah protect us, the 7 doors to Jahannam. So the numbers have a very important value in our deen as well. Scientifically at the same time, I'd like to quote a few things. Can we have the previous slide once again, please? I think the one after this, please. Yeah, Nikola Tesla. Anybody heard of Nikola Tesla? The Tesla car, the electric car. I'm sure you guys have heard, yeah. So Nikola Tesla is a very important person. He's the reason why we have electricity in this hall today and the entire world. The AC/DC system, the alternative current system, is based on his invention. So he's also said in one of his quotes, if you knew the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, then you have the key to the universe. So surely numbers are important in the Quran, in the science. Everybody's talking about numbers. The next slide, please. So we also have, I think the previous one. In the Quran, it was also mentioned that we have the 7 heavens. وَبَنَيْنَا فَوْقَكُمْ سَبْعًا شِدَادًا, which means, and we have built you above 7 strong heavens. So surely numbers are something that we deal with on a very often basis, but there are some numbers which are golden numbers. I'll give you one example of the Fibonacci sequence. So on this slide, you see there are a few numbers, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. This is called the Fibonacci sequence. It was invented by an Italian mathematician about 180 years ago. And it's a sequence that defines quite a few things. So the very basic concept is if you add the first and second number, you get the third number. And then if you add the second and third number, you get another number. So 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5, so on and so forth. So this sequence carries on all the way in the end. For example, the last number here is 144 plus 123. That's 377. So that's just an add-on. Can we have the next slide, please? Yeah. Now, the magic here is that if we divide any of these numbers from the Fibonacci sequence, the answer is always 1.618, which is known as the golden ratio, the gold number. Now, hold that thought for a minute, because this number is something that I will define in more detail, and I'll strategically prove it to you. Next slide, please. Yeah. So the main point of Earth, the middle of the Earth. Now, where the Kaaba, Makkah al-Mukarramah, the Kaaba is situated, if I were to calculate the distance from the Kaaba to the North Pole, which is about, the next slide please, which is about 7,631 kilometers. And if I divide that by the distance of the Kaaba from the North Pole, which is 12,348. Ladies and gentlemen, the answer here I would get is 1.618, which is the golden ratio. So isn't this amazing that this number has a magnificent importance that we might not know here? And trading industries and companies such as Facebook and Tesla gain their strategies on these particular frequencies. I'll give you another example. My body. If I were to measure my body from my head to my navel and divide that by the measurements from the navel to the toe, the answer again is 1.618. Isn't that amazing? Next slide, please. Yeah, another one, please. Perfect. So these are, again, any part of my body. If I were to measure one part from my finger to my shoulder, if I were to divide that by from my finger to the elbow, I would still get the ratio, which is 1.618. So that's just to emphasize how important this ratio is. Paintings such as Mona Lisa, can I have the next slide, please? Mona Lisa's painting by Leonardo da Vinci was also captured and produced within the Fibonacci sequence. So it's within the ratio of 1.618. So these things are in the modern Western world used by architects, artists, by traders, in all sorts of industries. They have value. They have a lot of value. So clearly numbers are important. These specific magic golden numbers which are called, they have some importance that we might not know, which I learned a couple of years ago and I'd like to share here. Now, you might be thinking, why am I talking about a ratio in a leadership conference? It might be very witty. It might be like, he's just wasting my time. No, I'm not. The only thing is, I'm trying to make you understand what I learned a couple of years ago, that some numbers can actually gain you a lot of motivation, a lot of efficiency in your day-to-day operations, whether you're running a firm, a cotton yarn factory, or your production. These numbers and the Fibonacci retracements would bring a lot of value and efficiency in your day-to-day business. I've got a plot charted here for Karachi Stock Exchange. What I've done here is I've just put the Fibonacci retracement on this chart, which is actually phenomenal because I'm seeing the market has been very steady between the last few weeks. I'd say it's been going up, but it's been in a downtrend, in a bearish market in 2017. And if you see where the Fibonacci sequence is 0.618, that is exactly the point where the market resets, reacts, hits the next rally and goes either all the way up or all the way down. So this particular is an example of what we do in our day-to-day operations, where we use this particular number, 0.618, on our trading analysis. It's a part of our technical analysis that when we see the Fibonacci ratio hitting that particular level, that is something that gives us a skip, that gives us a point that, it gives us a decision-making power, whether we enter or we exit, and how we can project that particular aspect.
Conclude, yes. Thank you.
So ladies and gentlemen, this is something, a very simple aspect I wanted to share today. And it's something that we use on a day-to-day basis. And I would say, I would brief this conversation due to the time of limitations we have. I would conclude this slide by ending another ayah in our Quran, which also mentions that this universe is based on the aspects of numbers that we have. Thank you very much for having me today. And I hope you have a good evening today.